My daughter broke my credit card in two and shouted, "Learn to live without my money." I only said, "You're right." The next day, she tried her own card. Account blocked. When she spoke to the bank, she got a big surprise. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me rewind 3 months, back to when I still believed my daughter had a soul. Back to when I thought family ties mattered more than money, and that family meant something more than content for the internet. Before we continue, we ask you to subscribe and like the video to help the channel grow. Tell us which city you are from in the comments. We would like to get to know our audience better. I live in Pembroke Harbor, Maine. You've probably seen it on Instagram. All white clapboard houses and lobster boats, sunset walks and artisanal coffee shops, charging $8 for a latte. It's the kind of town where everyone smiles at you in the grocery store and talks about you the second you turn around. Picture perfect on the surface, rotting underneath, like a beautiful apple with a worm at its core. I'm Nora Blake, 56, widowed for 8 years, living in a small rental cottage 6 blocks from the water. The cottage is nothing special. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen barely big enough to turn around in. The paint is peeling on the shutters, and the porch steps creak when you walk on them. But it has a view of the harbor if you stand in just the right spot, and in the mornings, I can watch the sun come up over the water while the coffee brews. That's worth more than square footage. I spent 23 years as a financial analyst for Ashworth Academy, a private school where the tuition costs more than most people's cars. $45,000 a year for high school. I was good at my job, better than good. I could look at a budget and see the story underneath, where money was flowing, where it was stuck, where someone was lying about the numbers. Numbers don't lie. People do, but numbers tell the truth if you know how to listen. When my husband died, heart attack, sudden, the kind where you're having breakfast and then you're planning a funeral. I took early retirement. I was 51. His life insurance and my savings were enough. Not extravagant, but enough. I didn't need much. I'd spent decades managing other people's money, making sure their children could afford private school. I wanted time to manage my own life, to read, to walk along the harbor, to exist without a spreadsheet defining my worth. What I got was a daughter who turned me into content. Amanda is 30. She's beautiful in that expensive way. Highlights that cost $300 every 6 weeks. Fillers that make her face camera-ready. Teeth so white they practically glow in photographs. She calls herself a financial empowerment coach for women. She has 1.2 million followers on Instagram, a podcast called RossWellness Radio that gets downloaded 50,000 times per episode, and a smile that could sell ice to Eskimos, or sell a lie to people desperate enough to believe it. She also has my money. Or she did. The trust was set up 12 years ago, back when Amanda was still Amanda, and not this polished stranger who speaks in hashtags. She came to me with her vision. She wanted to start a wellness brand, courses on budgeting, coaching sessions on financial independence, speaking engagements at women's conferences. She had the charisma but no capital. She had the dream but no foundation. No business plan, no market research, just enthusiasm and a smile, and a mother stupid enough to believe in her. I had both, and I was stupid enough to think that being a good mother meant saying yes. My lawyer at the time, old Gerald Morrison, who's since retired to Florida, suggested a revocable family trust. Tax protection, he said, estate planning, smart structuring for family businesses. Amanda would be the face of RossWellness LLC, the operator, the public persona. But I'd retain ownership until we decided otherwise, until she was established enough to buy me out properly, transfer the assets, make it officially hers. It made sense. She was young, impulsive, prone to expensive mistakes. I wanted to protect her from herself. She signed the papers without reading them. I remember that day. We sat in Gerald's office, all dark wood and leather chairs that smelled like old money. and she flipped through the documents so fast I knew she wasn't processing a word, just scanning for the signature lines. "Thanks, Mom. You're the best. I'm going to make you so proud." That was the last time she called me the best anything. The trouble started slowly, the way rot always does. You don't notice it until the floor collapses. First, it was just distance. Amanda got busy. The business was growing, her follower count climbing, her speaking engagements multiplying. Fewer calls, fewer visits. I understood. I was proud even. My daughter was building something. Then her husband Jason started appearing in photos where I used to be. Family dinners that suddenly featured Jason's parents instead of me. Holiday posts that showed the Ross family. Amanda, Jason, his parents, his sister. I became the phantom, the deleted presence, cropped out of the frame. Jason Ross, real estate developer, which is code for talks about deals that never close. He's 35, handsome in that yacht club way, square jaw, expensive haircut, teeth that have definitely been whitened professionally. He wears polo shirts and boat shoes and has a handshake that feels like a threat. The kind of man who calls everyone buddy and means it as a dismissal. The kind who measures your worth by your house and car and finds you lacking. Jason didn't like me. I could tell from the first time we met, back when Amanda brought him home for Thanksgiving 7 years ago. He looked at my cottage and I saw the calculation in his eyes. Small house, modest car, teacher's pension. Not impressive, not useful, not the kind of family that could help his social climbing. "Your mom's still helping you financially?" I heard him ask Amanda once, not knowing I was in the next room putting away dishes. My hearing has always been excellent. "It's complicated," Amanda said. Her voice was different when she talked to him, smaller, apologetic. "It looks dependent. People might think you're not self-made. You need to be careful about your brand image." Dependent. That word wormed its way into everything after that, like a parasite burrowing under skin. 2 years ago, Amanda started a new segment on her podcast, Boundaries with Toxic Family. She never said my name, but she didn't have to. Pembroke Harbour is small enough, everyone knew. I'd go to the farmer's market and see the looks, pity mixed with curiosity, the way people glance at something uncomfortable but can't quite look away. Poor Nora, poor Amanda, forced to deal with her controlling mother. "My mother always struggled with control," Amanda said in one episode, her voice dripping with therapeutic sympathy. That voice she uses when she's being vulnerable and authentic. She wanted me to stay small. She wanted me dependent on her. She couldn't handle my success. But I chose growth. I chose myself. And sometimes, choosing yourself means leaving people behind. I listened to every word. I took notes in a spiral notebook I kept in my kitchen drawer. Dates, quotes, screenshots of the podcast descriptions. I didn't know why I was doing it then. Some instinct, maybe. The same instinct that made me good at finding discrepancies in budgets. The sense that something didn't add up. Then came the social media posts. Vague booking, they call it. Posts designed to be about someone specific while pretending to be general wisdom. Plausible deniability wrapped in inspirational quotes. Finally setting boundaries with people who drain my energy. Posted with a photo of Amanda looking peaceful on a beach at sunset, wind in her hair. You can't pour from an empty cup, even if the person emptying it is family. Posted with a quote graphic in soft pastels that got shared 10,000 times. Growth means leaving behind people who can't celebrate your success. Posted after she hit 1 million followers, with champagne and confetti. The comments were always the same, a chorus of affirmation. "You're so brave." Toxic parents are the worst. "I'm so proud of you for protecting your peace." Family doesn't mean tolerating abuse. You don't owe anyone your energy, not even the people who raised you. Abuse. That's what she called my existence. My presence in her life was abuse. Me? I kept quiet. I paid my bills on time, every single one. I walked my neighbor's ancient beagle when she went on vacation. I volunteered at the library on Tuesdays, shelving books and helping elderly patrons with the computers. I read biographies of women who burned their enemies and called it justice: Cleopatra, Eleanor of Aquitaine, Catherine de Medici. Strong women, patient women, women who understood that revenge is a dish best served cold. I learned. I waited. People think revenge is fire, explosive, immediate, consuming. It's not. It's ice. You wait for the winter. You wait for the moment they slip, and then you watch them fall. You don't push. You just stop catching them. The final straw came 3 weeks ago on a Tuesday morning. Amanda announced she was coming to visit. No warning, no asking if I was available, no checking if it was convenient. Just a text at 9 in the morning. Stopping by tomorrow around 11. Need to check in on you. Check in. Like I was a child, like I was a patient, like I was someone who needed supervision. She arrived at 11 in the morning with her phone already recording. I opened the door to find her standing there in athleisure that cost more than my monthly rent, cream-colored leggings and a matching sports bra under a designer jacket, all perfectly coordinated. She was holding a green smoothie in one hand and her phone in the other, angled perfectly for a selfie. She'd done her makeup even though she was pretending to be casual. Camera-ready casual. "Hi, Mama." She hugged me with one arm, the other holding her phone at that practiced influencer angle. Cheek to cheek, both of us in frame, her smile bright and my face caught off guard. "Just wanted to see how you're doing. You look tired. Are you sleeping okay?" I wasn't tired. I'd been up since 6, the way I always was. I'd had my coffee, read the news, watered my tiny garden. But apparently, I looked tired. Apparently, that was the narrative. She posted the video within an hour. I know because 3 different people texted me about it. The caption, "Checking in on Mum today. Remember to care for your elders, even when it's hard, even when they don't make it easy. Love isn't always comfortable. Jar's boundaries. With love, Jar toxic family. Healing Sharpsan self-care isn't selfish, Shartsa generational trauma." The comments made me want to throw my phone into the ocean. "You're such a good daughter." My mum is toxic too, I feel this so much. It's so hard when parents can't be happy for your success. Sending you strength. Elder care is so draining. You're breaking the cycle. But I didn't throw my phone. I screenshot every single comment instead. Added them to my folder. Evidence. Though of what, I still wasn't entirely sure. Amanda stayed for 3 hours that day, and it felt like 3 years. Every minute stretched like taffy, sticky and unpleasant. She walked through my cottage like a health inspector who'd already decided to fail me. Opening cabinets, frowning at the contents, running her finger along the counter like she was checking for dust. Making little humming noises that could have meant anything but clearly meant disapproval. Everything I did was wrong. Everything I had was insufficient. "Mom, you're still buying name-brand cereal?" She held up my box of Cheerios like it was evidence in a trial. "I can send you some tips on budgeting. There are store brands that are just as good. You could save maybe $5 a week. That adds up." I'd been balancing budgets since before she was born. I'd managed a multi-million-dollar school budget for 2 decades. But apparently, I didn't know how to buy cereal. I said nothing, just smiled and offered her tea. She declined with a little grimace. "I don't do caffeine after 9 a.m. Cortisol levels. You should really think about cutting back too. It's not good for anxiety at your age." It was 11, and I don't have anxiety. But I said nothing. She sat at my kitchen table and filmed herself, helping me organize my bills. I didn't need help. My bills were already organized, filed by due date in a folder I'd been using for 20 years. Color-coded tabs, every payment scheduled. But she pulled them out anyway, spread them across the table like she was doing me some great service, and started recording. "See, if you cut back on subscriptions, You could save maybe $50 a month. Do you really need Netflix and Hulu? And this internet bill? There are cheaper providers. Every bit counts when you're on a fixed income. She held up my electric bill like it was evidence of financial mismanagement. And you might want to look into assistance programs. There's no shame in asking for help. Pride isn't worth going hungry. Fixed income. As if I were some charity case living on government cheese and goodwill. As if my retirement wasn't perfectly adequate. As if I hadn't planned every detail of my financial future decades ago. I'm fine, Amanda. I know you think you are. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand, and I felt the cold metal of her rings. Her voice dripped with condescension. But I worry about you out here all alone. Have you thought about moving somewhere smaller? Maybe assisted living in a few years? I've been researching some places. They have really nice facilities now. Like hotels, basically. Meals included, activities, medical staff on site. I'm 56. Not 80. My mother didn't go into assisted living until she was 83 and needed round-the-clock care. But Amanda was already planning my decline, already imagining me somewhere manageable. Somewhere she could visit once a month and feel virtuous about it. Somewhere she could post about with tearful captions about the burden of elder care. I smiled and poured myself more coffee. Let her talk, let her record, let her hang herself with her own words. I've always believed in giving people enough rope. You know, she said, leaning back and angling her phone to catch her face in better light, checking her reflection in the screen. I tell my clients all the time, the hardest boundaries to set are with the people who raised you, the people who think they own you because they gave birth to you. But you have to protect your peace. You have to choose yourself, even when it hurts, even when people call you selfish, even when they try to guilt you. She posted that segment too. By evening, it had 15,000 likes and 300 comments. I read every one while eating dinner alone in my kitchen. Frozen lasagna, store brand, heated in the microwave because I didn't feel like cooking for one. Each comment a small knife. The gossip spread through Pembroke Harbour like wildfire in a dry season. Within a week, I heard whispers everywhere. At the post office, Linda Schaefer turned away when she saw me. At the library, conversation stopped when I walked into a room. At the grocery store, the checkout girl looked at me with pity and something else. Fear, maybe. Like I was contagious. Amanda Ross says her mother's losing it. Did you hear Nora's been asking Amanda for money? Apparently she's gotten confused about finances. Dementia, probably. Such a shame. Amanda's so successful, and now she has to deal with this. I hadn't asked for money. I'd never been confused about anything except how my daughter had turned into this. But the truth doesn't matter when the story is better, and Amanda tells better stories than I do. She's had more practice. The worst part wasn't the strangers. It was the friends. People I'd known for years started treating me differently, carefully, like I might break if they spoke too loudly. Or worse, like I might ask them for something. Like poverty was contagious, and they might catch it if they stood too close. Betty Pritchard cornered me outside the grocery store on a Tuesday afternoon. Betty, who I'd known since our daughters were in elementary school together, who I'd had coffee with 100 times, who I'd helped when her husband lost his job. Nora, honey, how are you holding up? Her eyes were wide with concern and hunger for details. The combination made her look like a predatory owl. I saw Amanda's post about your financial situation. It must be so hard. I don't have a financial situation, Betty. I'm fine. Of course, of course. She patted my arm, and I felt the weight of her pity. But if you ever need anything, I know things have been hard since Amanda became so successful. It must be difficult seeing her do so well while you're struggling. The comparison must be painful. I'm not struggling. Of course, dear. Her face said she didn't believe me. Her hand on my arm said she pitied me. Her eyes said she couldn't wait to tell everyone about this conversation. But if you ever need help with bills or anything, The church has a discretionary fund. Pastor Mike is very understanding. There's no shame in it. We all need help sometimes. I thanked her politely and left. Drove home and sat in my car in the driveway for 20 minutes, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white and my hands cramped. I didn't cry. I've never been much of a crier. Even when my husband died, I didn't cry at the funeral. I cried alone, later, in the shower where no one could see. Instead, I counted. 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3. Counted until my heart rate slowed. Counted until I could think clearly again. Counted until the rage settled into something cold and useful. People dig graves with words. All I had to do was hand her the shovel and step back. My friend Maeve called that night around 9. I was reading, trying to focus on the words, but reading the same paragraph over and over. The phone rang and I almost didn't answer, but it was Maeve, and Maeve is different. Maeve Sanders. We'd known each other since college, back when our hair was bigger and our worries were smaller. We'd been roommates junior year in a tiny dorm room that smelled of old textbooks and cheap perfume. We stayed close through marriages, careers, children, and every major turn life threw at us. After 30 years as a bank compliance lawyer, she retired to a house 3 towns over, closer to her grandchildren. We met for coffee once a month, sometimes more when one of us needed to vent. I saw Amanda's latest post, she said without preamble. No hello, no small talk, just straight to the point. That's Maeve. The one about difficult family members who can't accept your growth. She tagged it with your location. I'm a trending topic in my own town. You're a saint for not drowning her in the harbour. Maeve's voice was dry as chalk, sharp as a blade. Have you thought about responding? Publicly? What would I say that wouldn't make it worse? The truth, that you funded her entire business, that you still technically own it, that she's built $1 million brand on calling you toxic while spending your money. I went very still. Outside my window, I could hear the ocean in the distance, that constant rhythm of waves. The sound usually calms me. Tonight it just reminded me of erosion, how water wears down stone, given enough time. What do you mean, still technically own it? The trust, Maeve said slowly, carefully, like she was explaining something to a child. Or a client. You set it up as revocable. You're still listed as the legal owner of RossWellness LLC. Amanda's listed as the operator, but she never bought you out. Did she? No. The word came out slowly. We talked about it a few times over the years. She was always too busy. She said we'd handle it eventually. Said there was no rush. Eventually never came. No. Nora. Maeve's voice took on that sharp lawyer edge I remembered from law school, when she'd demolished opposing arguments in moot court. When she'd made grown men cry during cross-examination. Do you know what that means? I did. I just hadn't let myself think about it. Hadn't let myself consider the implications. Because good mothers don't weaponize legal technicalities against their children. Good mothers forgive. Good mothers let things go. Good mothers sacrifice everything and smile while they burn. But I was tired of being good. It means, Maeve continued, her voice taking on an edge of excitement, that you have options. Significant options. Legal options. We talked for 2 hours. By the time I hung up, my coffee was cold and my hands were steady, and a plan was taking shape in my mind, like ice crystals on a window. Delicate but strong. Beautiful but unstoppable. Amanda thought she'd written me out of her story. She'd made me the villain, the cautionary tale, the toxic mother who couldn't handle her daughter's success. She'd built an empire on that narrative, on the idea that she'd escaped me and thrived despite me, and become successful without me. She was wrong. I wasn't the villain she'd escaped. I was the author, and I was about to take back my pen and write the ending myself. I pulled out a notebook, not the one where I kept track of her posts, a new one with a clean first page, and started making lists: assets, accounts, documents, leverage points, legal precedents. By midnight, I had 3 pages of notes and a clarity I hadn't felt in years, maybe ever. Amanda had spent a decade building her brand. I'd spent decades building something more valuable: patience. And now it was time to collect on my investment. The dinner happened a week later on a Sunday evening. The sky was grey and threatening rain, the kind of weather that makes everything feel heavy. Amanda invited herself over, the way she always did now. Not asking, just informing. A text at noon. Jason and I will stop by around 6 for dinner. I'll bring food. I know cooking's hard for you these days. Cooking wasn't hard. I'd made a roast that morning just to prove it to myself, filling my small cottage with the smell of garlic and rosemary. But I didn't correct her. I just texted back, "See you then." They arrived at 6 exactly, Amanda in designer jeans that probably cost $400 and a white blouse that looked effortlessly expensive, the kind of expensive that tries to look casual. Jason in dark jeans and a button-down shirt, a watch that cost more than my car catching the light. He barely looked at me, just scanned my cottage like he was calculating its resale value and finding it disappointing. His eyes lingered on the worn carpet, the outdated fixtures, the small television. Amanda kissed my cheek, air kiss really, barely making contact, and swept past me into the kitchen, already pulling out her phone. "I brought Thai from that new place downtown. You like Thai, right? I got you the mild curry. I know spicy bothers your stomach." My stomach is fine, but I said nothing. She arranged the takeout containers on my table like she was styling a photo shoot. Which, of course, she was. Click, click, click. 3 different angles, adjusting the lighting, moving a container slightly left. Then she sat down and typed a caption while Jason and I stood there in awkward silence. The silence of 2 people who have nothing to say to each other and no desire to find something. There. She set down her phone, satisfied. Family time, even when it's complicated. Grateful heart and chosen family and boundaries work. We sat at my small table, and I watched them eat food they'd chosen while pretending to care what I wanted. Jason talked about a huge development deal that was definitely happening any day now. Waterfront condos, luxury market, investors lined up. He used words like synergy and market disruption and vertical integration. I'd heard this speech before, or versions of it. Every time I saw him, there was a new huge deal that never quite materialized. Smoke and mirrors and expensive confidence. Amanda nodded along, her face arranged in supportive wife expression, occasionally interjecting with affirming sounds. That's amazing, babe. You're so good at this." She posted a photo of our dinner, my hand in the corner of the frame, slightly out of focus, her and Jason crisp and perfect and smiling. The caption appeared seconds later. "Family time, even when it's complicated. Choosing love over resentment. Or a grateful heart, nor choosing love, more family first." I ate my mild curry and said nothing. Let them perform. Let them pretend this was normal. Then Amanda turned to me, her face shifting into that therapeutic concern that made my skin crawl. That look she gives her camera when she talks about healing and boundaries and generational trauma. That look that says I'm a problem she's heroically managing for her followers' education and entertainment. "Mom, we need to talk about your finances." She set down her fork carefully, clasped her hands on the table like we were in a business meeting. "Jason and I have been discussing it, and we're worried." "My finances are fine, Amanda." "Are they?" She glanced at Jason, some silent communication passing between them, something rehearsed. "Because I've been thinking, you helped me when I was starting out, and I want to return the favor. Now that I'm in a position to help, I want to give back. Maybe I could help you budget, set up a small monthly allowance to make sure you're covered." An allowance. The word hung in the air like a bad smell. Just until you're more stable, she said quickly. Just to make sure you're not struggling. I know you're proud, Mom, but pride doesn't pay bills. And I've been worried. These comments you've been making on my posts. I don't comment on your posts, Amanda. The passive-aggressive likes, then. People have noticed. They're saying you seem confused, or maybe a little... She paused delicately, choosing her words carefully. Bitter, resentful of my success. Bitter. About my success. And I get it, I do. It must be hard, watching me build something while you're here alone in this little house. But, Mum, I can help. I want to help, if you'll just let me. The condescension dripped from every word like poison. She actually believed this. She actually thought she was the successful one, the generous one, the one extending charity to her poor, struggling mother. She'd rewritten history so thoroughly in her own mind that she believed her own lies. But what? My voice came out colder than I intended, colder than I'd meant it to, or maybe exactly as cold as I'd meant it. But you think I'm too senile to manage money I've been managing since before you were born. Jason set down his fork carefully, deliberately. Mrs. Blake, Amanda's just trying to help. There's no need to get defensive. By offering me an allowance, from my own money? Amanda's face flushed red, blotchy. Your money? Mum, I've been supporting myself for 10 years. I built RossWellness from nothing. With capital I gave you, with money I invested. A loan, which I've more than paid back in... It wasn't a loan, Amanda. It was a trust. There's a legal difference. A significant legal difference. The silence that fell was absolute. Outside, I could hear a car passing, a dog barking somewhere down the street. The ordinary sounds of an ordinary Sunday evening in an ordinary town. But inside my small kitchen, something had shifted. Some invisible line had been crossed. Some point of no return had been reached. Amanda's expression changed. The warm daughter mask slipped, and for just a second, I saw something else underneath. Something cold and calculating and very, very angry. The real Amanda, the one she hides from cameras. Are you seriously going to pull the "I gave you everything" card right now? Her voice rose shrill. After everything I've done, after all the work I've put in, I made RossWellness what it is. Me, not you. My face, my voice, my work, my vision. And frankly, Mum, I'm tired of you acting like I owe you something just because you wrote a check 12 years ago. I never said you owed me. You don't have to say it. You just sit here in your little cottage, making passive-aggressive comments, giving me looks, making me feel guilty for succeeding, making me look like the bad guy to everyone in town. Do you know how that affects my brand? Do you know how hard it is to build a platform when people keep questioning whether I'm real, whether I actually care about my mother, whether my success story is real or fake? Is it? I asked quietly. Real? Her mouth opened and closed. Jason stood up, putting a hand on Amanda's shoulder. A warning. A signal. Let's go, he said quietly. But Amanda wasn't done. She was on a roll now, years of resentment spilling out. She grabbed her purse and pulled out her wallet, then pulled out my credit card. The one I'd given her years ago for emergencies, back when I still thought we were family. Back when emergency meant a flat tire or an unexpected expense, not funding her lifestyle while she called me toxic. You want to know what I think? She held up the card, waving it like evidence. I think you're jealous. I think you're bitter that I succeeded without you. I think you can't stand that I don't need you anymore. That I built something bigger than you ever did. That people actually care about what I have to say. Amanda. She snapped the card in half. The sound was small but final. Plastic breaking. Clean snap. She dropped the pieces on my table like they were contaminated. Like they were trash. Learn to live without my money, Mum. Maybe then you'll understand what independence actually means. I looked at the broken plastic. 2 neat pieces, the magnetic strip split right down the middle. I looked at my daughter's face, flushed with righteous anger, her eyes bright with tears that might have been real or might have been strategic. I looked at Jason, smirking behind her like this was all going exactly as planned, like he'd written this script and was pleased with the performance, like he'd been coaching her. Then I smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. It wasn't a forgiving smile. It wasn't the smile of a mother who loves her child unconditionally. It was the smile of someone who's just been handed exactly what they needed. The smile of someone who's been waiting for this moment. The smile of someone who's about to win. "You're right," I said quietly. "You're absolutely right, Amanda." They left. I heard their car pull away, the engine fading into the distance. I sat at my table for a long time, looking at the broken card, at the half-eaten Thai food going cold and congealing, at the life I'd built in this small cottage by the sea. I felt something cold and certain settle in my chest, something that had been building for months, maybe years, something that was done being patient, done being kind, done being good. Then I picked up my phone and texted Maeve. "It's time." Her response came immediately, like she'd been waiting. "About damn time. Tomorrow morning? My office?" Me. "Tomorrow morning." I didn't sleep that night. Didn't need to. Didn't want to. I sat at my kitchen table with my notebook and a pot of coffee, making lists. Reviewing documents I'd kept filed away for years. Documents Amanda had signed without reading because she trusted me. Because I was Mom, and Mom took care of everything. Mom made sure the paperwork was right. Mom protected her. Mom was done protecting her. The trust papers were in a file box in my closet, along with the LLC formation documents, the trademark registrations I'd filed in my name, temporarily, until we sorted out the details. We never sorted them out. Amanda got busy being famous, and I stayed in the background where I'd always been, where good mothers stay, quiet, supportive, invisible, until now. At 5 a.m, I sent Maeve a detailed list of actions. By 7, she'd responded with a longer message. "You're sure? Once we start this, there's no going back. She'll fight. It'll get ugly. The whole town will know. Are you ready for that?" I was sure. By 8, the paperwork was filed. By 9, I'd made myself eggs and toast and sat on my porch watching the sunrise over the harbour, feeling lighter than I had in years. The weight I'd been carrying, the worry, the hurt, the constant wondering what I'd done wrong, had evaporated. I knew what I'd done wrong. I'd been too generous, too trusting, too much of a mother. I wouldn't make that mistake again. By 10, Amanda's world started falling apart. She called me at 10:47. I was reading on my porch, a biography of Marie Curie. Strong women who didn't take anyone's nonsense. I let the phone ring, watched Amanda's name flash on the screen until it went to voicemail. The satisfaction was immediate and cold. She called again at 10:52, again at 10:58. By 11, she'd left 4 voicemails, each one progressively more panicked. I listened to them while making lunch, tuna salad on wheat bread, her voice tinny and desperate through my phone's speaker, music to my ears. "Mum, my card isn't working. Call me back. It's probably just a glitch." "Mum, the bank is saying something about a freeze." "What's going on? This doesn't make sense. Call me." "Mum, this isn't funny. I have expenses. I have people I need to pay. I have a payroll coming up. Call me now." "What did you do? What the hell did you do? Mom, call me back right now or I swear to God." I deleted them without finishing the last one. The threats didn't scare me. They energized me. Then I opened my notebook and wrote, Day 1. The first day of the rest of my life, the first day of Amanda's education. The mechanics were simple, the way Maeve had explained them to me the night before, over wine in her living room. Patient and thorough, like she was teaching a class. Like old times in law school when she'd helped me study. The RossWellness business account was tied to the trust. As the grantor and legal owner, I had the right to freeze assets pending review. Not permanently. That would require more extensive legal action, court orders, that kind of thing. But temporarily. 30 days. Renewable. long enough to get Amanda's attention, long enough to remind her who actually held the power, long enough to make her panic. "Think of it as a pause button," Maeve had said, sipping wine in my living room, her reading glasses perched on her nose. "You're not stealing anything. You're not breaking any laws. You're just exercising your legal rights as the owner. You're reminding her who actually owns what she's been claiming is hers. You're teaching her a lesson about assumptions." The beauty of it was the legality. Everything I was doing was completely within my rights. Amanda had operated for 10 years thinking the business was hers, but she'd never bothered to actually buy me out, transfer ownership, or do any of the legal work to make it official. She'd just assumed I'd always be there, assumed I'd never fight back, assumed good mothers don't use the law against their children. Assumptions are expensive. Amanda was about to learn just how expensive. By noon, Amanda showed up at my door, no warning, no text, just pounding on my door loud enough that my neighbor probably heard it 3 houses away. Mrs. Henderson next door is deaf in one ear, and even she probably heard it. "Mom, open up. I know you're in there. I can see your car. Mom!" I was making tea. Earl Grey, the good kind I save for special occasions. This definitely qualified. I let her knock for a full minute before I answered, timing it on my watch. Let her work herself up. Let her panic settle deeper. Let her understand that I was in control now. She pushed past me the second the door opened, her face red and tear-streaked. No makeup today. No perfect lighting. No camera. Just raw anger and fear and desperation. Jason was right behind her, and for the first time since I'd met him, he looked worried instead of smug. The cocky confidence had cracked like old paint. "What did you do?" Amanda's voice cracked, shrill. "The bank says the account is frozen. All of them. The business account, the backup account, everything. They won't tell me why, just that the owner requested it pending some kind of review." "What owner? I'm the owner. What did you do?" "Are you?" I set down my teacup carefully, centered it on the saucer. Took my time. "Are you the owner? Of RossWellness LLC?" She stared at me like I was speaking a foreign language. "What? Of course I am. It's my business. My brand. Your business," I smiled. "Built with my money, using my capital, under a trust I established and still control. Your brand, using a trademark I filed and own. Your success, built on my foundation. But She looked confused now, the anger giving way to genuine bewilderment. "You never said anything. You never stopped me." "I'm stopping you now. You can't just, this isn't, Mom, you don't understand. That's my livelihood. That's how I pay my mortgage, my car, my team. You can't just freeze it." "I didn't freeze your livelihood, Amanda. I paused access to my assets. There's a difference." I picked up my tea again. "You never bought me out. You never transferred ownership. You just took and assumed I'd never stop you. You assumed wrong." Her mouth opened and closed. For maybe the first time in her adult life, Amanda Ross was speechless. The influencer who always had the perfect caption, the perfect response, the perfect spin. She had nothing. Jason stepped forward, trying to look intimidating, puffing up his chest. It didn't work. He looked like a boy playing dress-up in his father's clothes. "Mrs. Blake, I don't know what kind of game you think you're playing, but..." "No game. Just business. You understand business, don't you, Jason? All those deals you talk about? All that development? Surely you understand contracts and ownership." His face reddened. "You can't do this," Amanda said again. Her voice was shaking now, and I couldn't tell if it was anger or fear or both. Probably both. "This is my company, my brand, my life, everything I've built for 10 years. Everything I funded. But I need access. I have payroll due on Friday. I have team members depending on me. I have contractors. I have suppliers. I have..." "Then maybe you should have thought about that before you broke my credit card and told me to learn to live without your money." I looked her directly in the eyes. Didn't blink, didn't look away. Now you know how it feels. Now you get to learn what independence actually means. The silence was beautiful, perfect. I watched the realization wash over both of them in real time. Watched Amanda understand that I wasn't bluffing, wasn't having a breakdown, wasn't making an empty threat. I had actually done this. Her mother had actually frozen her accounts. Her mother had actually taken action, and there was nothing she could do about it. Jason found his voice first, blustering. "This is illegal. We'll sue. We'll get a lawyer, and we'll sue you for everything you have. Restraint of trade, interference, emotional distress." "With what money?" I smiled sweetly. "Your accounts are frozen. You can't exactly pay a lawyer right now. Besides, I've done nothing illegal." Maeve checked very thoroughly. She's extremely good at her job. I'm simply exercising my rights as the legal owner of the trust. If Amanda wants to contest it, she's welcome to try. But she'll need to file a civil suit, which requires a lawyer, which requires money she doesn't currently have access to. And discovery should be interesting. All those posts about me being toxic and dependent, all those podcasts about breaking free from family financial abuse, when the actual financial records show I'm the one who funded everything. How do you think that will look to a judge? Amanda's face shifted from red to pale, truly pale, as if all the color had vanished, like she'd just seen a ghost. "Mum, please." Her voice had shrunk to something small, almost childlike. The influencer veneer was gone. This was simply my frightened daughter. "I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry about the card, about everything I said. I didn't mean it. I was just upset. Please, unfreeze the account. I'll do anything." "No. Mom, you wanted independence, Amanda. You wanted to prove you could succeed without me. You called me toxic for being in your life. You called me dependent for accepting the natural relationship between mother and daughter. You told me to learn to live without your money." I stood up, and something in my posture must have changed because they both took a step back. "So here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave my house. You're going to talk to a lawyer. Find one who'll take your case on contingency, since you can't exactly pay them right now. And you're going to learn exactly how much of your success was actually yours. You're going to learn what it means to start from zero. Like I did, like everyone does, without a wealthy mother to fund your dreams." They left. Amanda was crying. Real tears now, not the strategic kind. Jason was furious, his jaw clenched so tight I could see the muscles jumping. I closed the door and went back to my tea. It was cold by then, but I drank it anyway. It was the best cup I'd ever had. Within an hour, Amanda posted on Instagram. Her phone might not be able to access her business accounts, but her personal Instagram still worked. A tearful video shot in her car in my driveway. Face makeup free and vulnerable, hair messy, eyes red, raw, real, calculated. "I don't usually share stuff like this," she began, her voice quavering just right, perfect amount of shake. "But I believe in transparency. I believe in being honest with my community, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. You all deserve to know what's happening." She wiped her eyes. Real tears or fake? I couldn't tell anymore. Maybe she couldn't either. Maybe she'd performed emotion so long she'd forgotten how to feel it authentically. "My mother is going through something. I don't know what's happened. I don't know what's changed in her mind. But she's frozen my business accounts. All of them. My livelihood. Everything I've built over 10 years. I can't access my money. I can't pay my team. I can't fulfill my commitments to the people who trust me. People who depend on me." She took a shaky breath. Perfect timing. "I want to be compassionate. I want to believe this is a misunderstanding, that she's confused or scared, or something is happening mentally that I don't understand. But right now, I'm scared too. I'm scared for my business. I'm scared for the people who depend on me. And honestly, I'm scared for her. Because this isn't the mother I knew. This isn't the woman who raised me. Something's changed, and I don't know how to fix it. She looked directly into the camera, and I felt the manipulation, even through the screen. Even knowing it was performance, it was effective. If you're dealing with family sabotage, if you're experiencing financial abuse from a family member, if someone who's supposed to love you is using money as a weapon, please know you're not alone. Sometimes the people who are supposed to love us hurt us the most. Sometimes we have to protect ourselves, even from our own parents, even from the people who gave us life. The video ended. Within minutes, it had 1,000 views. Within an hour, 10,000. By evening, it had gone completely viral. 500,000 views. Shared across platforms. Picked up by gossip sites and news aggregators. The comments rolled in like a flood, thousands per hour. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. This is abuse, pure financial abuse. Your mom is clearly having some kind of mental break. Elder abuse in reverse. This is a thing. Call a lawyer immediately. Sue her. This is why you can't trust family with business. You need to get power of attorney before she hurts herself. Sending you so much love and light." I read them all, screenshot them too, adding them to my growing folder. Evidence of what exactly, I wasn't sure yet, but I've always believed in keeping receipts. You never know when you'll need proof of what people said, what they believed, how wrong they were. By evening, the post had gone completely viral. Local news picked it up. Wellness influencer faces family financial crisis. A reporter called my landline. I didn't answer. Another reporter showed up at my door with a cameraman. I looked through the peephole, watched them knock for 5 minutes, then went back to my book. My phone buzzed constantly. Texts from people I barely knew, people I hadn't heard from in years. "Are you okay? Do you need help? What's going on with Amanda? Is it true you froze her accounts? Why would you do that?" I turned my phone off. The silence was beautiful. I did text Maeve, though, from my computer. She's panicking, posted a tearful video, already viral. Her response came quickly. "Good, let her panic. The longer she panics, the more mistakes she'll make. And Nora, we need her to make mistakes, public ones, the kind that can't be taken back." Waiting is easy when you've already won. You just have to let them figure it out. Let them thrash and struggle and slowly realize the water's too deep and they never learn to swim. Let them exhaust themselves trying to find solid ground that isn't there. Amanda was drowning, and I was standing on the shore, watching, learning something I should have learned years ago. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is let someone face the consequences of their actions. Sometimes love means saying no. Sometimes being a good mother means teaching hard lessons, even if the lesson destroys them, especially if it destroys them. The next morning, I woke to 17 missed calls, 34 text messages, and a notification that I'd been tagged in a Facebook post by the Pembroke Harbour Community Group. My phone had turned itself back on somehow, or maybe I'd forgotten to actually turn it off. Technology hates me. The post was from Linda Schaefer, the town's biggest gossip disguised as a concerned citizen. Her profile picture showed her at some charity gala from 5 years ago, pearls and a forced smile, and a dress that was trying too hard. "Has anyone checked on Nora Blake? I just saw Amanda Ross's Instagram post, and it sounds like Nora might be going through a serious crisis. Mental health issues are no joke, especially in elderly women. Should we do a wellness check? Call the police? Adult protective services? I'd hate for something terrible to happen when we could have helped. Better safe than sorry. Thoughts and prayers. Wellness check." They wanted to send police to my house because my daughter was good at playing victim on social media. They wanted to have me evaluated because I dared to enforce my legal rights. I made coffee, strong, black, the way I like it, and scrolled through the rest. The Facebook comments were split into 2 camps, like a civil war fought with keyboards and emojis. Camp Toxic Nora. "Yes, someone needs to check on her. This is clearly some kind of breakdown. Poor Amanda. Having a parent lose it must be so hard. Nora always seemed a bit off to me. I heard she's been acting strange for months. Camp, maybe. Wait, didn't Nora fund Amanda's business originally? I heard the company is still technically in Nora's name. Maybe Amanda isn't telling the whole story here. Linda, maybe stay out of it. This is between them. Has anyone actually talked to Nora instead of just believing Instagram? I saw her at the library yesterday and she seemed completely fine. Normal. Since when do we believe everything we see on social media? Maybe. That word was doing a lot of work. Doing my work for me, actually. I didn't respond to any of it. No defense, no explanation, no justification. Instead, I showered, dressed in my favorite jeans and sweater, and went for a walk. Down to the harbor where the boats bob and the tourists take photos and life goes on like nothing's wrong. Because for everyone else, nothing was wrong. This was just entertainment, just drama, just something to talk about over coffee. I walked past the tourist shop selling overpriced nautical decor, anchors and lighthouses and Maine the way life should be signs. Past the coffee place where Amanda's card had declined the previous day. The barista, college girl named Sarah, usually friendly, always remembers my order, saw me coming and suddenly got very busy wiping down the espresso machine, avoided eye contact. Her hands were shaking slightly. I smiled and kept walking, didn't stop, didn't explain. Let the silence speak for itself. The thing about small towns is that silence speaks louder than words. The more Amanda talked, the more people would wonder why I wasn't defending myself. Human nature. When someone's accused and they don't defend themselves, people start to question why. They start to look closer. They start asking questions instead of just accepting the narrative they're given. Let them look, let them question. The truth would come out eventually. It always does. Maeve came over that afternoon with a folder, thick with papers and a bottle of wine. Expensive wine, the kind with a cork that requires an actual corkscrew. It's 2 p.m, I said, but I was already getting glasses. You just declared war on your daughter in a very public way. We're celebrating the first victory. She set the bottle on my counter with a satisfying thunk. Also, I'm proud of you. I wasn't sure you'd actually do it. You're too nice, Nora. Always have been. I'm not nice anymore. Good. Nice women finish last. Nice women get used. She opened the folder. All business now. I've been reviewing the trust documents in exhaustive detail. You have more leverage than I initially thought. Want to know the best part? Tell me. I poured the wine into actual wine glasses, not the cheap tumblers I usually use. The trademark, RossWellness, the logo, that stupid little wellness wheel she uses, even that hashtag she's always using, and RossWellness Journey. You filed it all in your name 12 years ago. She never transferred it, never even requested a transfer, which means she's been operating a business, building a brand, growing an audience of over 1 million people, all using intellectual property she doesn't legally own. I set down my wine carefully. What does that mean? Practically? It means, Maeve said, pulling out her reading glasses with a satisfied smile like a cat with cream, that you could, if you wanted, revoke her license to use it. Completely. File a trademark dispute with every platform she operates on. She couldn't call herself RossWellness anymore. She couldn't use the logo. She couldn't use any of the branding. She'd have to start completely over with a new identity. New name, new logo, new everything. And try explaining that to 1 million followers without looking incompetent. Her entire business is built on that name. Everyone knows her as RossWellness. Her podcast is RossWellness Radio. Her courses are the RossWellness method, her whole brand identity. Exactly. Maeve looked at me over her glasses, and I saw the shark she used to be in courtrooms. So the question is, how far do you want to take this? Because we can stop at the frozen accounts. Let her suffer for a while, panic a bit, then negotiate some reasonable terms. Or we can go all the way. Completely dismantle what she's built. force her to start from absolute scratch, if she can even do that without capital or credit or access to her audience. I thought about the broken credit card, about the videos and the posts and the whispers and the looks, about my daughter looking into a camera and calling me toxic while profiting from my money, my trust, my belief in her, about years of being the villain in someone else's story, about being erased from my own daughter's history, about watching her take credit for everything while giving me credit for nothing. All the way, I said. My voice didn't shake. I want to go all the way. Maeve smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. That's what I was hoping you'd say. Let's burn it down. We spent 3 hours planning. Maeve knew every legal loophole, every pressure point, every way to make this hurt without breaking any laws. And there were so many ways. So many legal, legitimate, completely above-board ways to destroy what Amanda had built. The law, wielded correctly, is a beautiful weapon. The beauty of it was in its simplicity. I didn't need to do anything dramatic. No arson, no theft, no confrontation. I just needed to exercise my rights. Rights I'd always had but never used because I was too busy being a good mother. Too busy being nice. Too busy being a doormat. First, Maeve said, making a numbered list in her precise handwriting, each number circled. We file a notice of intellectual property dispute with all major platforms. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest. That'll suspend her social media monetization automatically. They can do that. Just suspend it. Platforms don't want to get sued for hosting content that uses disputed trademarks. The second there's a legitimate claim filed with proper documentation, they freeze all payouts until it's resolved through arbitration or court. Could take months, years if we're strategic. And during that time, she makes nothing, zero, while still having to maintain her audience, post content, stay relevant. What else? We send a formal cease and desist on the brand name. Certified mail, proper legal letterhead. She can't legally operate as RossWellness without your explicit written permission. She'd have to rebrand completely. New name, new logo, new domain, new social media handles, new everything. She'd lose everything. All her followers, all her SEO, all her name recognition. People would forget her in months. Yes. Maeve looked at me steadily. Is that a problem? It wasn't. Not anymore. We kept going, building the strategy piece by piece like a house of cards. Except this house was solid, legal, unassailable. By the time Maeve left, we had a timeline spanning 6 weeks. A carefully orchestrated sequence of legal actions that would systematically dismantle everything Amanda had built while staying completely above board, completely legitimate, completely unassailable in court. One question, Maeve said at my door, her hand on the knob. The sun was setting, painting everything orange and gold. Are you absolutely sure? Because once we start this, it's going to get ugly. Much uglier than it is now. She's going to fight back. She's going to make you look like a monster. The whole internet is going to have opinions. You're going to be the villain in a million people's eyes. I thought about Amanda's face when she broke my card, about Jason's smirk, about years of being called toxic and dependent and controlling and small, about building something for your child and watching them use it as a weapon against you, about loving someone who doesn't love you back, or worse, who loves the idea of you but hates the reality. It's already ugly, I said. I'm just making it fair. Fair isn't the same as easy. I don't need easy, I need justice. That night, Amanda went live on Instagram. I watched it on my laptop, sitting in my dark living room with tea going cold in my hands. Maeve was watching too, texting me commentary throughout, a running dialogue of cynicism and legal analysis. Amanda was in her home office, the one with perfect lighting and motivational posters on the walls, carefully curated bookshelves in the background, spines out, color-coordinated, probably never read. Her eyes were red, but her makeup was perfect. Strategic tears applied with precision. I've been getting hundreds of messages asking for an update, she said, her voice soft and vulnerable and carefully modulated. First, thank you. Your support means everything to me. Truly. I don't know what I'd do without this community. You've kept me sane. She took a shaky breath, counted to 3. Perfect timing. Second, I want to be honest with you. Full transparency, like always. This is the hardest thing I've ever dealt with. My mother has completely frozen my business. Not just the accounts, everything. I can't pay my team. I can't fulfill orders. I can't even access my own website backend because the hosting is paid through the business account. I can't respond to coaching clients. I can't do anything. Maeve texted, she's building sympathy. Classic victim narrative. Me. Let her talk. The more she says, the worse it'll look later. Amanda continued, her voice breaking on cue. And when I asked her why, when I begged her to explain what I'd done wrong, what I could do to fix this, she said, pause for effect. Wipe eyes. Look at camera with devastating vulnerability. She said I needed to learn my lesson, like I'm a child. Like I haven't built a successful business. Like I haven't helped thousands of women. Like none of that matters, because I dared to set boundaries with her. The comments exploded, thousands per minute. I watched them scroll past, an endless stream of validation. This is financial abuse, textbook. Family abuse is still abuse. She's clearly having a mental health crisis. Sue her, take her to court immediately. This is elder abuse in reverse. Report her. What lesson? You've done nothing wrong. Your mother is toxic and abusive. Can someone set up a GoFundMe to help her? I'm a lawyer and this is definitely illegal. Amanda wiped her eyes with practiced precision. I don't know what I did to deserve this. I've tried to be a good daughter. I've tried to set healthy boundaries, to build a life that's authentically mine, to create something I can be proud of. But apparently that wasn't enough. Apparently, having success that doesn't include her, that doesn't center her, that exists independently, that's a crime. That's something I need to be punished for. She looked directly into the camera, and I felt the manipulation even through the screen. So if you're watching this, Mom, her voice dropped, intimate, please, I'm begging you, let me have my life back. Let me work. Let me keep the promises I've made to my community. I'll do anything you want. Just please, please stop this. The video ended. Within minutes, it had 100,000 views. Within an hour, 500,000. I closed my laptop and sat in the dark, feeling nothing but cold satisfaction. No guilt, no regret, no second-guessing. Just the clean, clear certainty of someone who knows they're winning and knows they deserve to win. She wanted an audience. She'd get one. But this time, I'd control the ending. This time, the narrative would be mine. This time, truth would win over performance. Eventually. I opened my notebook and wrote, Day 3. Then I added, she's afraid. Good. Fear makes people sloppy. Fear makes people make mistakes. Fear makes people show who they really are. Outside, the ocean kept its rhythm. Waves on rocks, eternal and patient. I'd spent years watching those waves, learning their lesson. You don't fight the ocean. You wait for the tide to turn. You wait for the moment when the water shifts from advancing to retreating. And when it turns, you let it carry your enemies away. Amanda was about to drown in the tide she'd created. And I was going to watch. The intellectual property dispute went live Thursday night at 11:03 p.m. Maeve texted me. Filed. All platforms. She'd filed simultaneously with Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and every other platform where Amanda monetized content. Simple notice. Trademark dispute regarding RossWellness, requesting immediate suspension of monetization pending legal resolution. By 6 a.m. Friday, every single one of Amanda's income streams was frozen. She called me at 6:04 screaming, "What did you do?" I was making coffee. I put her on speaker and continued measuring grounds. "Mom, all my accounts are suspended. Everything." Good morning, Amanda. I'm having coffee. What did you file? A trademark dispute. Intellectual property infringement. Very standard. You can't do that. I can. I did. RossWellness is my trademark, Amanda. Registered in my name 12 years ago. You've been using it without proper license. For 10 years. Yes, that generosity has now been revoked. This is my income. I have people who depend on these paychecks. Then you should have been nicer to me. I'm going to sue you. With what money? Your accounts are frozen, and lawyers are expensive. I hung up. Maeve texted, "Too harsh?" Me. "Probably. I don't care." Within hours, Amanda posted everywhere she could. Personal accounts, anywhere monetization wasn't required. Urgent update. My mother has filed false trademark claims to shut down all my income streams. Every platform, every source. This is systematic financial sabotage. This is abuse. I have people depending on me and I can't pay them. Please share this. Help Amanda. Dan family abuse. It went viral, but not the way she wanted, because now people were really digging. Screenshots of the original LLC document started circulating on Twitter. Someone found the trust filing and posted it with highlighted sections. Her mother owns everything, always has. Someone else found the trademark registration. Filed 2013, owner, Nora Blake. A lawyer in California did a TikTok breaking down the legal situation. Based on publicly available documents, Amanda Ross has been operating a business called RossWellness under a family trust established by her mother. The mother is listed as grantor and legal owner. Amanda is operator, not owner, operator. She leaned into the camera. Ownership was never transferred. So what we have here is a daughter who's been running a business in her mother's name for a decade, calling it hers, and crying victim when her mother enforces legal ownership. That's not abuse, that's consequences. That's what happens when you don't read contracts. She shrugged. Could the mom have handled this differently? Maybe. Is what she's doing legal? Absolutely. Does Amanda have recourse? She can try to sue, but those cases are hard to win with a signed trust agreement. Bottom line, read your contracts. Don't build your life on assets you don't legally own. And don't call the person who owns your business toxic while using their assets. That video got 2 million views in 12 hours. The comments under Amanda's posts shifted dramatically. Wait, your mom owns the trademark. Why didn't you buy her out? I'm starting to think your mom isn't the toxic one. You've been calling her toxic while using her business. Maybe don't bite the hand that feeds you. Amanda tried desperately to control the narrative. More posts, more videos, more interviews. She posted throwback photos of us with captions like, "I miss when my mom loved me." But the more she explained, the worse it looked. Every post made her look more entitled, more naive. The influencer community weighed in. Some supported her. Family shouldn't weaponize business. Others were skeptical. But legally, whose business is it? A few were critical. This is why you structure your business properly. Meanwhile, I said nothing. No interviews, no statements, nothing. Silence made people curious, made them look for answers themselves. And when they looked, they found the truth. On day 6, Jason showed up at my door. Past 10 p.m., I heard pounding. I remembered the porch camera and opened the door in my robe. "We need to talk." Jason pushed past me and I smelled alcohol. "Excuse me." "No, you excuse me. Do you have any idea what you're doing?" "Amanda hasn't made a dime in a week. We have bills, mortgages, car payments. Financial problems. How terrible." "This isn't a joke." "No, it's justice." He stepped closer, threatening. "You're going to drop this, all of it, or we'll sue you for emotional distress, business interference." "For exercising my legal rights?" I pulled out my phone. "Jason, this porch has a camera. Recording you threatening me in my own home at night. That's not great for your legal position. That might be criminal." He went very still. Now you're going to leave. Tell Amanda if she wants to negotiate, she can have her lawyer contact mine during business hours. But you will never come here again. Never threaten me again, or I'll make sure everyone sees this footage. Understood? He left without a word. I locked the door and immediately downloaded the footage to my computer. Then texted Maeve. Jason just showed up drunk and threatened me. Porch cam caught everything. Her response, perfect. This is gold. Forward all footage immediately. I forwarded it, then poured myself wine and went back to my mystery novel. Consequences, I thought. They're educational.